Being a super strong, invincible hero who defeats monsters with just one punch, mistaken for a terrorist due to your hairstyle, is not common. You start to wonder why the citizens don't recognize you as a hero, despite saving them from monsters for years. Then you meet a disciple who tells you to register for the Heroes Association to get noticed, and you pass the test. When the city is in danger, you save it again, destroying the streets in the process and somehow end up getting blamed. However, you eventually save the city from a very powerful monster that has been spending years traveling to the city. Meet Saitama. Saitama and his disciple are strolling around the streets buying ingredients when all of a sudden a girl screams, indicating her fear. As people see what she's screaming about, they are filled with terror, wondering what it could be. The monster springs its tongue out as people start running, attempting to capture the girl. However, its intentions are not fulfilled because one of the Class S ranking heroes, rank 7, named King, strikes the tongue before it reaches the girl. King happened to be strolling peacefully in the streets incognito when the monster attacked. The citizens recognize him and start chanting King's name, making the monster shake as it also recognizes who King is. It quickly bows, expressing its apology. "I'm terribly sorry for what I've done," the monster says. One of the people asks King whether he came out after sensing the monster. King replies, seemingly bored at what's taking place, "I was about to go shopping." After the commotion, King buys a game he wanted and is excited about reaching home to play it. Meanwhile, Saitama and Genos stand a few feet away from King, watching him leave. Genos explains to his master that King is an S-ranking hero. He saw him at the gathering. He further explains that King took Saitama's place as the strongest hero on the planet. Just as Genos starts to wonder what King is doing, another scream is heard. People start running, screaming monster. Once Genos sees the monster, he tells Saitama to hurry. Saitama replies, telling him to wait, saying they'll get the opportunity to see King's true powers. Standing in front of King, the machine introduces itself. "I am G4, a machine god that the organization created." G4 then scans King, confirming that he's the target, and tells him that it will eliminate him. King replies, asking whether G4 is aware that he's King, a Class S ranking 7 hero and the strongest man on Earth. The machine draws out its sword, pointing at King, and the wind made by the sword causes King's hat to fall. Citizens have gathered, watching the exchange. The people start hearing a heartbeat. One asks what it is, and a friend replies that it's the sound King makes once he's in combat mode. G4 mentions that it's also a test of its combat AI, so it needs him to fight at full strength to gather data. King stares at the huge robot, wondering about the organization it's talking about. Then he replies, "Alright, but let me go to the bathroom first. I'll only be able to fight at only half strength if I keep holding it in." G4 tells him it'll wait for 10 minutes, and every minute late, it'll kill 10 people. Hearing this, the citizens run for their lives while Saitama and Genos are hiding. Saitama wonders what sort of monster it is. Genos replies, telling him that it's a robot and quite powerful. Its performance might be higher than his, and it's at least a threat-level demon, making it quite troublesome. He wonders how King will fight it. Meanwhile, in the public bathrooms, King has locked himself in the stall, afraid and sweaty. As he wonders how he got to this, he clings to his sweater, telling himself, "I am a 29-year-old unemployed otaku and antisocial loser." He starts explaining what occurred, how an evil monster appeared in front of him, and someone with closed eyes coincidentally defeated it repeatedly. This led the Hero Association to send him a Class S certificate, and he starts blaming himself, wondering why he didn't deny it. He suddenly hears explosions, making him even more scared as he runs out of the bathroom, sweating profusely, apologizing in his inner thoughts. He sees that someone is fighting the robot. Genos the cyborg punches the machine, sending it flying to the ground. It immediately stands, jumps over him to stomp on him, but Genos catches its leg. Saitama, standing a few feet away, asks if Genos needs him to lend a hand. Genos refuses, explaining that to achieve Saitama's assignment and rank in the top 10 of Class S, he needs to defeat something like G4 on his own. Saitama then starts walking away as Genos throws quick punches at the machine. Relieved that he's home safely, King sits down to start playing his newly bought game, thinking about what name to put. When Saitama suggests putting King, Genos turns, seeing Saitama. He wonders who he is and how he got into his house. Saitama replies that his window is open, and King tells him that they're on the 22nd floor. When he doesn't reply, he stands up, walking backwards, and changes his voice, asking Saitama if he knows that he's a hero. Saitama replies, "Of course I do, you're King, right?" King recognizes him as a Class B hero from their meetings. Then Saitama picks up a game, saying he wants to play. Meanwhile, Genos lunges at the machine, screaming "Incinerate," and fire shoots out of his metal arms, melting the machine. Thinking he's done with it, a tiny robot appears from inside the huge melted machine, making him wonder whether it's the true form or the pilot. It starts shooting laser beams at him. Saitama and King are in the middle of their game when Saitama tells King that he's pretty good at it. King replies that he has won a few tournaments. Saitama explains that not only is he strong in games, but also in real life. He then asks why King ran from the robot monster if he's an S-class super strong hero. Just as a female voice is heard warning the city's citizens of the robot bird, Saitama stands to get going just as the bird flies towards them. He stops it with just his hand while King sticks to the wall, getting soaked in his sweat. Saitama tells King that there's something about him that always attracts monsters. King replies that he's always been unlucky. Meanwhile, Genos is dodging the tiny robot's laser beams. Saitama asks King if he's not going to fight it. King tells him that he's not a hero, just happened to get dragged into this mess since he's always present where the demons arrive, and someone defeats them. The people end up giving him the hero name King as the ultimate hero, yet it's all a lie. The bird screams, causing King to cry out, and Saitama pushes it to the ground. He then tells King that he's guessing it's true what he's just told him because he just pissed his pants. He asks King if he's okay, making him remember when he got the scar on his eye that it's also Saitama who saved him. King starts crying as he apologizes for taking credit for his deeds. Saitama tells him it's not about that and asks if he's going to continue with his lies or quit being a hero. When he replies that he's not sure, Saitama asks, "Why don't you just get strong instead?" Then he leaves. Genos goes to Dr. Kuzno with the G4 robot parts, telling him that if there are any parts he can use, he should allow him, saying he needs to get stronger. The doctor tells him that they'll give it a try since he believes that he can still make him stronger. The doctor tells him he knows he became a cyborg for justice purposes, so he shouldn't push himself too hard. He replies that he has to push himself because his goal is to rank into the top 10 of Class S. Then he asks Genos whether he has managed to figure out the cyborg that destroyed his home. He replies that he hasn't been able to track it down at all. Stitch has called a criminal meeting, and as he gives his speech, 3 Rank A heroes, Magic Man, Heavy Tank, Loincloth, and Blue Tear, stand beside him as his bodyguards, while he addresses the criminals. One of the criminals asks Stitch where the hero named Saitama is, inquiring about his headquarters. Stitch replies that he would appreciate it if they could hold off on any off-topic discussions until later. The criminal insists on leaving, and Bluefire tells him that he won't let him leave until he hears what Stitch has to say. The criminal takes out papers and reads them aloud before throwing them in the air, leaving other criminals gasping. Stitch wonders how he got his hands on the papers when he didn't hand them out. The criminal then tells Stitch that the thought of playing hero with them nauseates him, and he turns, walking out of the building. Meanwhile, Lady Hellish Blizzard and her goons are also in search of the Rank B Class 33 hero named Saitama. In the room with criminals, Stitch tells them that they must join hands to deal with the disasters about to befall them. A criminal named Garo speaks up, challenging everyone in the room. He starts by killing Stitch's hero guards. Stitch hides behind the podium as he calls for every hero, then he sees that Garo has killed every single person in the building, claiming he was trained as a monster, so he's the only one on the monster's side, while the other criminals are on the human side. He tells Stitch that he'll be back in 6 months stronger than ever and exits the building. Lady Blizzard and her goons, Wild Monkey and Eyelashes, are walking around the streets in search of Saitama. Genos tells Saitama that his ranks are increasing even though he hasn't been reporting to the Hero Association, which means the people witnessing his acts are the ones reporting, and he's been getting recognized. As he continues washing the dishes, Genos senses something coming towards them at an astounding speed. He instantly realizes that it cannot be a human with that kind of speed, and seeing his master is busy, he decides to fight it by himself. Genos walks outside and shouts for whoever's out there to show themselves. The criminal in pursuit of Saitama appears, telling Genos to tell Saitama to come out, for he knows he lives there. "I'm Speedo, Sound Sonic, Saitama's rival," says the criminal. Genos extends his hand as light begins shining in his palm, telling Sonic to step back or he's going to be eliminated. Sonic replies, "You're the one who's going to get eliminated, sidekick." Meanwhile, Saitama is busy playing a game inside his apartment when he suddenly hears a knock. Lady Blizzard and her goons introduce themselves as heroes who would like Saitama to join them, saying he cannot keep climbing up on his own. Saitama refuses to join them, infuriating Lady Blizzard. She tells Eyelashes and Wild Monkey to get him, and they lunge at him. However, with one punch, he sends the goons flying into the trash. Lady Blizzard gets surprised, taking off her jacket and activating her powers, causing stones to start flying around her. Then a blizzard is formed and Saitama gets sucked up into the blizzard. She floats from his floor to the ground, saying she'll always be number one and will never let anyone get in her way. Saitama appears behind her, replying that she's crazy and doesn't belong on top. She turns to attack him, but he's fast. He grabs her as he explains to her what a true hero does. She gets furious and strikes the ground, surrounding him in rocks where he effortlessly breaks out. She runs to him with a sword, about to slit his throat when Genos appears, destructing her with his explosion. Genos looks up, thinking he was chasing a rat, but somehow ends up in the front of his master's apartment. Blizzard seems shocked to see the S-Class hero Genos. "I apologize, Master. It's gotten rather dusty outside your apartment," says Genos. He replies that it's more than just dust. Then he tells him that he thinks he saw Sonic for a split second. He wonders what the two of them are up to. "You've got a connection with S-rank heroes," Blizzard asks in shock. Genos replies that he is Master Saitama's disciple. As they are conversing, a knife flies towards them, making her think it's a monster. However, Saitama tells her no and instructs Genos that it's getting crowded, so they should go. Sonic and Genos start fighting again. Saitama notices that Genos' speed has increased since the last time they played around and wonders if he's gotten new parts. Meanwhile, Genos keeps throwing punches at Sonic, but he dodges them. He manages to cut off Sonic's hair. Without giving him time to react, he lunges at him, attempting to strike him with his machine gun blow. He's taken aback when he realizes that Sonic has managed to dodge his attack. "How does it feel to hit nothing but air?" Sonic asks. He speeds up, circling Genos to the point that he's unable to see his next move. Sonic draws his sword and jumps just as Genos activates his cannons. Sonic jumps at Genos' attack, but is confused as he lands on the ground since Genos fell before he could strike. Turning back, he realizes that Saitama has saved him since he's standing next to him. Saitama tells Sonic that he's the one he's after, and since he's persistent, he'll fight him seriously once in a while. Upon hearing this, Sonic gets excited as he reveals he's been waiting for this moment and has developed the ultimate technique to finish him off. Taking out his sword, he starts to circle Saitama at full speed using his 10 afterimage. Blizzard is thinking Saitama doesn't stand a chance against Sonic. She gets surprised as Saitama defeats Sonic with one killer move, Serious Series, leaving him unconscious. Then Genos carries Sonic's body and Blizzard speaks to herself, saying Saitama is too strong. In Saitama's apartment, Blizzard explains to Genos and his master how her sister made her feel back then when she was always number one at anything. It's the reason she started crushing newbies, as it keeps her at the top and surpasses her sister, so she needs to remain there. Suddenly, the apartment door opens, revealing King. At this point, Blizzard's jaw hits the ground upon seeing the strongest superhero, King, casually strolling into Saitama's apartment. At the Hero Association headquarters, Stitch is angrily exiting the meeting room because his colleagues are not taking Garo's matters seriously. Meanwhile, Garo is attacking a Class A rank hero in an alleyway, expressing his disappointment that the hero is too weak. Cherenko gets expelled from the dojo by his master, the reason being he's lazy. Cherenko goes to Saitama's apartment and complains about Master Bang's behavior, saying that he thinks they'll have a lesson and then beat him up. He asks if they know what's going on with him. Genos replies that maybe it has something to do with Garo, and then he asks Saitama what he thinks about Bang's action. Saitama explains that he's not that close to the old man. On his way home, Cherenko is lost in thought, realizing he has to take care of Garo for Master Bang. He doubts whether finding him will be easy when something catches his attention. Garo meets a hero named Mummin Rider. He tells the hero that he's going to hunt him. Mummin gets confused and asks what he meant by hunt, and Garo tells him that he will help him because he's a monster. Mummin's group mates arrive, saying they finally found him. One of the teammates is about to talk when a punch lands on him, leaving him unconscious. Garo then asks them whether they have come for revenge. He stares at the team members as he tells them that he'll kill every single one of them. S-Class rank 16 tank top master punches Garo. Upon seeing the master, Garo gets excited that he found a big one. The team master strikes the ground, causing it to crack and destructing Garo in the process as he runs to him, attacking him with a tank top tackle. However, the teammates are surprised when they notice that Garo didn't go down. The master wonders if he's really human. Meanwhile, Bang's older brother arrives at the dojo as they set off to find Garo. In the streets, the master has continuously lands punches on Garo, causing him to spit blood. As he's about to throw the final punch, Moomin gets in the way, getting punched in the process. While still on the ground, he tells his master that he should be ashamed of himself for being a Class S hero and trying to finish off a human. His teammates disagree while the leader agrees and tells Garo to swear never to hunt heroes again. Garo stands, making it seem like he's leaving, but he suddenly turns to them again, furious. He tells them that he's going to murder them all. The Master quickly attempts to punch him, but Garo dodges in a flash and lands a punch at Tank Top Master. Blood splashes out of his mouth, and Garo says he wanted to avoid the fist of flowing water since it reminds him of the old man. He throws another punch, sending Tank Top Master to hit the wall. Tank Top Master tries to stand but is unable to. Garo tells him to sit and watch as Monster Garo finishes off every last member of his crew. Mummin tries to attack from behind, but Garo grabs him and continuously smashes his head on the floor. Tank Top furiously lunges at him but ends up getting punched and falls to the ground. Then he goes after the other team members, beating them up while Cherenko hides in the bushes, sweating. He squeezes his eyes shut and sees Master Bang. Gathering courage, he runs up to Garo to beat him up, screaming that he's brought shame upon their dojo. Garo knocks him out, and Bang and his older brother arrive at the scene later. Bang's brother asks Bang to try predicting where he'll be next. The news that Tank Top and his crew has gotten beaten spreads like wildfire. Three heroes, feeling rather brave, are determined to catch the hero hunter when he suddenly appears and beats them all up. At the Heroes Association Hospital, Saitama visits his friend. He explains to Saitama how strong Garo is, and Tank Top Master speaks from the other side of the curtain, saying Garo is an expert in martial arts, expressing how Silver Fang surely trained a nasty monster. Meanwhile, Garo finds a kid at the park reading a hero comic. Once he sees the monster, the kid expresses how happy he is for the monster and tells him that he'd like to be in the comic book one day. He gets up to go patrolling as he's found his next target, Golden Ball, who likes visiting his favorite bar. In the hospital ward, Tank Top tells Saitama how Garo dodged all his moves and ended up using the opponent's moves against him. After that, Saitama visits Cherenko, who tells him to visit Master Bang because he seems to like him. Saitama leaves the hospital after being given a ticket by Cherenko to a mixed martial arts competition. At the bar, Garo breaks Golden Ball's glass of beer because he isn't complying with him. Seeing this, Golden Ball takes him to a nearby park. Golden Ball immediately recognizes Garo as he shoots a bullet at him, cutting his cheek. Another bullet cuts him on the back of his leg, and Garo tells him that he's going to lose because he didn't finish him off with the one shot he had. Golden Ball replies that he's got plenty of ammo left. He starts shooting, but Garo dodges it with minimal movement, surprising Golden Ball. Suddenly, a sword is thrown at Garo, and then Class A Rank 28 Spring Mustachio appears, standing between the two. Garo recognizes Mustachio and tells him that he'll crush him. They start fighting, and Garo ends up beating up Mustachio. At the market, Garo and Saitama cross paths, with Garo wondering whether Saitama is a hero set out to catch him in order to raise their ranks, so he attacks. Saitama gets confused, thinking Garo wants to rob him since they each have no idea who they're fighting with. Saitama strikes Garo once, and he falls unconscious. Walking up in the trash bags, Garo has no memories of the previous day's events. The Heroes Association has somehow realized that Garo isn't only after the heroes, but all the workers of the Hero Association. So they start to get bodyguards. One hero named Metal Bat is in charge of keeping a father and his son safe at their restaurant when his little sister calls. He excuses himself and goes into the elevator to take the call. Right after hanging up, he feels the ground shaking and monsters appear, grabbing the boy he's guarding. Meanwhile, Saitama disguises himself and enters the tournament as Cherenko. In the green room, Senpai appears and he realizes the huge guy knows Cherenko. Saitama explains why he entered the tournament while hiding his face with a paper, sweating in fear of getting exposed. Senpai explains that it has something to do with Garo. At the park, Garo finds the boy again and asks to borrow the comic book. He replies that he's already told him that he can't borrow it, but they can read it together. In the green room, Senpai explains how Garo beat him up at the dojo and how he plans to win the tournament to restore his confidence. He also mentions that he would have never left the dojo had he known the Master Bang was going to expel Garo. Saitama gets Senpai furious as he tells him that he'll beat up Garo at any chance he gets, pointing out that Senpai ran from the dojo. In the restaurant, Metal Bat defeats the monster when all of a sudden another monster appears. He jumps out of the restaurant with his clients. As the monster informs him of its intention to avenge Kohai, the Senti Senpai monster produces a poisonous gas that causes the father and son to fall asleep. Garo learns from the kid about Watchdog Man, a Class S hero rank 12, and where he usually sits. Suddenly, the city is being warned of a monster attack and the citizens are urgently ordered to evacuate. Metal Bat is currently on the scene. The kid runs home, leaving Garo on the bench. As Metal Bat continues fighting the monster, the poisonous gas starts affecting him, giving the monster an opportunity to beat Metal up. The monster beats him up continuously, but it gets surprised as Metal Bat hits himself in the head and looks more powerful than ever before. He swings his bat, beating the monsters up and defeats them. As he walks to the unconscious father and son, he remembers something and halts in steps. I forgot to ask the monsters what their motive was, and he starts waking the family up and two heroes arrive to assist him. And the Heroes Association colleagues remind each other of what occurred the last time Kohai and Senti-senpai appeared right next to each other. True to their words, a huge monster, Senti-charo, appears behind Metal Bat. Noticing it's after the family, he orders the two heroes to take them away from there. He swings his bat, striking at Charo as it makes its way around towards the family. Metal Bat realizes it's hard and plans to aim at the monster's face. The monster growls in pain, and another warning goes to the citizens as they run. Garo slowly walks in the direction of the monster, wondering if Metal Bat is still alive. His question is answered when Metal comes flying to the ground next to him. When Metal Bat is about to get back to the monster, Garo stops him, saying he's a second-class S hero, informing Metal that he has to fight him, and he's going to hunt him. Metal Bat tries to ignore him, however, Garo attacks him, making Metal realize he is Garo, the hero hunter. That brings us to the end of this anime, and I'm sure it was a good one for you. If you want to see more of these cute bald-headed men, like, subscribe, and leave your love. See you folks next time, same channel.